Are you serious? Are you serious, guys? What? Yes. We have breaking news. We have very serious breaking news coming from the Middle East, and there's ramifications that I'm not so sure that this was only a Israeli initiative. There's some question that maybe there's been a correspondence going on with another assassination of radical Islamic leaders in the Middle East. Another one has just happened. We just found this out. Let me just tell you something, and I'll tell you all about it in just a second. But first, let's put a shout out right now, if we could, for chuckdefense.com/Paul. That's chuckdefense.com/Paul. Of course, Chuck Norris is who we're talking about. And have you ever wondered what happened to the great, legendary Chuck Norris? Well, I recently saw a video he made, and I was shocked. He's in his 80s, and he's still kicking butt, and he's working out, and he's staying active. And what's even more shocking is he's stronger. He can work out longer and even has plenty of energy left over for his grandkids. He did this by just making one change. He says he still feels like he's in his 50s. His wife even started doing this one thing too, and she's never felt better. And she says she feels 10 years younger, and she has energy all day. Well, Chuck made a special video that explains everything. Make sure you watch it by going to chuckdefense.com/Paul or by clicking the link below this video. It will change the way you think about your health. And once again, that's chuckdefense.com/Paul. Click on the link in the description below. Watch this free video now. You won't believe how simple it is and what a change it will make. And just remember, the legendary Chuck Norris is a whopping 81 years old and yet has more energy than me. That's the truth. He's discovered he could create dramatic changes in his health simply focusing on 3 things that sabotage our body as we age. So watch this method. It's free at chuckdefense.com/Paul. All right. Well, I always did like Chuck Norris. I always love it. And he's a good Christian and involved in putting the Bible into public schools across America. Israel Hall is a part of that council. Okay, now, let me tell you what's happening. We have a serious situation that's developed in the Middle East. There has been another assassination, another airstrike, if you will. And this one, quite extraordinary. The Hezbollah has confirmed the death of a senior commander in an alleged Israeli airstrike. So now another one. I mean, think about this. Israel took out the leader, the top commander on the ground in Gaza of the Islamic Jihad. They killed 6 of Hamas's leaders, sitting in a conference room. One, the main guy of Hamas, when they fired a rocket right through their conference room window and killed him in Beirut, Lebanon. And then the United States went and took out one of the Iranian militia leaders in downtown Baghdad when they drone struck and blew up his car there in Baghdad. And then there was another one taken out just recently. And now this one is taken down from Hezbollah. And so think about it. Hamas's leader, dead. Hezbollah's senior commander, dead. Islamic Jihad senior commander, dead. Iranian militia leader, senior commander in Baghdad, dead. This is unbelievable. So, I mean, this is incredible. And now this one happens. 2 or 3 of these have happened since the Secretary of Defense, Lloyd Austin, is in the hospital, and nobody knew he was in the hospital. The Secretary of Defense had surgery on December 22nd and then had to be put into ICU on January the 1st. The whole time he's in the hospital in intensive care, an ICU unit. He's never informed even his second in command, who she was in Puerto Rico on vacation. And also, they never contacted the White House. But here's what was going on. Joe Biden didn't even know. Nobody knew. Yet, specific airstrikes taking out top militant leaders was going on in the Middle East. I see some type of a connection here. And I just wonder if we even really have the whole story on Lloyd Austin. I mean, really, I guess I have to ask the question, is he even alive? Or are we going to get, in a few days, a confirmation that he now has passed? I mean, that's possible, because who knows? I mean, this is insane. Okay, but, I mean, this is the Secretary of Defense in the middle of two big, huge wars going on. Russia, Ukraine, and the Middle East, which is broadening every day. The Pentagon has added new details now about Lloyd Austin's secretive hospital stay and the delay in telling President Joe Biden. Excuse me, I'm fighting through it. The Pentagon released new details Sunday about Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin's continued hospitalization after he went in for a medical procedure, which we don't know what that was, on December 22nd. He went home a day later but was admitted back to the intensive care by January 1st when he began experiencing severe pain for whatever the surgery was or whatever was wrong. The latest information came as members of both parties in Congress expressed sharp concerns about the secrecy of Austin's hospital stay and the fact that the president and other senior leaders were kept in the dark about it for days. The statement released by Air Force Major General Pat Ryder did not, however, provide any details about the medical procedure or what actually happened on Monday to require Austin to be in the intensive care at the Walter Reed Army Medical Center. Ryan said Austin was placed in the hospital's intensive care unit due to his medical needs, but then remained in that location in part due to hospital space considerations. Okay. But the Pentagon's failure to disclose that the Secretary of Defense, Lloyd Austin's hospitalization, including they never disclosed it to the President Joe Biden. The National Security Council top Pentagon leaders were never told. For days, reflects a stunning lack of transparency about what is this mystery illness and how serious is it and was it and when may he be released and what is his condition now. Such secrecy when the United States is juggling a myriad of national security crisis runs counter to normal practice for sure with the president and other senior U.S. officials and cabinet members. Ryder said that the National Security Council and Deputy Secretary of Defense Kathleen Hicks, and she's the one who has to be in charge. If he's not capable or he's incapacitated, she's got to be in charge during this most critical time. But they didn't even tell her. They didn't tell her till January 4th. While they didn't even tell her that her boss was in the hospital in intensive care until January 4th, and that he had been in there in intensive care since January 1st. Ryder said Austin's chief of staff, Carrie Magsamen, was ill and was unable to make notifications. Well, then there's somebody else. If Kelly is sick, then there's somebody who replaces that person and gets ahead of Kathleen Hicks and says, we got a problem. The Secretary of Defense is in serious condition in the ICU at Walter Reed. We know you're on vacation, but please get on a plane ASAP and get back to the Pentagon. Because meanwhile, airstrikes are taking place, pinpointing and taking out top Islamic militant leaders all over the Middle East, which is broadening the war for sure. And it's not, I'm not saying that they shouldn't be taking out these top people. I think that that's what I expected to have happen. But maybe they didn't want Hicks to know. Maybe they didn't want Biden to know. Maybe Biden didn't want this type of activity to be taking place, taking out these top leaders. And oh, by the way, meanwhile, the Secretary of State, Anthony Blinken, is running all over the Middle East trying to patch together some type of coalition to stop the war. Meanwhile, the war is widening right underneath his nose. Once notified, though, Hicks, began preparing statements to send to Congress, and she made plans to return to Washington because Hicks was in Puerto Rico on leave, on vacation, but had communications equipment with her to remain in contact. Yeah, but she wasn't in contact because she didn't know she needed to be. She might have had all the tools she needed, but what good is it if you don't know you're in charge? The Pentagon did not say if Hicks was given any explanation Tuesday for why she was assuming some of Austin's duties, but temporarily transfer of authority are not unusual and are often done without detailed explanations. But Hicks decided not to return after she was informed that Austin was going to get better and was going to get back in control on Friday. So she didn't come. So she's still in Puerto Rico. Meanwhile, Austin didn't take back the helm on Friday. The man is still in the hospital sick. We still don't know how bad he is. Guys, this ain't adding up. And meanwhile, where's Joe? Where's the president? What does he know? Has he ever been told, I guess? Really, guys, there's something really not adding up in this whole thing. So look, here's what I know. The Israelis are moving forward. And I don't think it's just the Israelis. I mean, the United States is the ones that did that airstrike in Baghdad, took out the Iranian militant leader. I mean, you don't do that unless that goes all the way to the top. Somebody has to make that decision. It's either Biden or the Secretary of Defense, the Joint Chiefs, everybody. I mean, look, the Biden has to sign off on those kind of. We haven't had an airstrike on a leader since Trump took down General Qasem Soleimani. You're telling me that this was done without Biden's knowledge, without Lloyd Austin's knowledge, without Hicks's knowledge, because Austin was in ICU. So something is going on, and that means there must be a whole lot more going on even than what we know. The next few days you should watch very closely. Look, to me, it's just such a incompetency that it can't be that bad of an incompetency. It has to be more than that, I would think. But then again, I don't know. I know this. Israel is taking out their opposition leaders one by one. They have finished their crush and creep military operation in northern Gaza. They have wiped out Hamas in northern Gaza, and now they are working their way slowly now through southern Gaza, which will even be more difficult because you have almost 1.9 million people shoved down into the southern part of that enclave. So that's going to go on for another year. Meanwhile, the enemies of Israel, who've been trying to correspond and trying to work with each other and holding meetings, are getting picked off one by one by these military airstrikes, either by the IDF or by the United States, because we did one of them. So this is this is huge news. I'm going to tell you right now, you got to understand, Hezbollah is not Hamas. Hezbollah is not Hamas. They're 10 times stronger than Hamas. Hamas is in Gaza, and in comparison, Hezbollah's in southern Lebanon, and they're a full military. They're 10 times stronger, better equipment, precision rockets, and in my opinion, they're preparing for a massive rocket assault on Israel, so overwhelming that the Iron Dome and the David Sling and whatever else is used to try to knock down the incoming missiles cannot knock them all down. Psalms 83 war that we're in is looking closer and closer and closer, as if it is about to metastasize, as the Secretary of State Anthony Blinken says. It's about to metastasize into a broader Middle East regional war, and Turkey and Russia are the wild cards who are sitting on the outside looking in and are maybe preparing to get in. And oh no, by the way, the Iranians have been mostly using proxies, but they may decide it is time. And we could be just days, we could be just a few steps prophetically in the Bible from literally stumbling into Ezekiel 38. And that's why I continue to watch it very closely, because we've never been this close. We've never been this close to Ezekiel 38. I just wonder what the great late Chuck Missler would say if he could come back and tell us where we are now. Because my interview with him in 2015, he told me this would be the next biblical milestone. This would be it. And we're in it right now, what he said. And that is that Psalms 83, Ezekiel 38 would kind of mesh together in a war that would start out and then broaden regionally, and then the Golan Heights, and here would come the enemy on Israel. I just wonder what the great late Dr. Irvin Baxter would say if he was here now. When he told me, he said, Paul, the question's going to be whether we're going to go through Psalms 83, Ezekiel 38 first, and then the peace agreement, or will there be a peace agreement and then sudden destruction with this war? And you just wonder, when Russia, I wonder what both of them would think, because they both died before the events of what we're watching now, the Russia invasion of Ukraine and the October 7th Israel. And so you start wondering, what would they say to us today? They told us that this day was coming soon, and they were right. Here we are. So where did they get their information? Well, from the Bible. They studied biblical prophecy every day, and then they prayed, and they waited for God to give them some kind of response. Yeah, I wonder what Tom Horn would say, who just recently passed away. That's another one. I wonder what he would say at this moment. You see, what's happening is we're at this crossroads where we may not be able to go back. There's no turning back. There's no way to undo these IDF airstrikes or Israeli airstrikes. But it was the younger guy, okay, the younger guy on your left that was killed, okay? And the guy next to him is Nasara, who is the head of all of Hezbollah. So the young guy next to him, he was the commander, the top man of over the entire Hezbollah military. And he was just taken out. Another assassination. We're going to keep an eye on all of this because this is all so relevant to biblical prophecy. I think that people need to understand that the reason we cover these things is because, and I don't have a hidden agenda. I don't have an agenda. Like, I'm not pushing some doctrine or some ideology or some kind of conjured up conspiracy theory against the Jews or against, whoever. I'm just reporting this is what's happening, and here's what the Bible said would happen. And this is where we're at. We are right in the middle of prophecy, and I would venture to say 9 out of 10 Christians don't know it. And I would easily say 99% of all of the human race doesn't know it because they have never considered the biblical narrative, the prophetic words spoken by prophets 3,000 years ago, like Ezekiel and Isaiah and Zechariah and and Joel and Hosea and Amos and all these just tremendous prophets. They don't believe in them. They've spent decades discounting them, discrediting them, discrediting the Bible, discrediting the Torah, discrediting the New Testament. Matter of fact, there's people discrediting the book of Revelation completely, saying it shouldn't even be in the canon. Get your ticket for Planet X. What's next? It's coming. This is going to be a huge webinar. Matter of fact, I'm going to be interviewing today Stan Deyo for the webinar. So this is I'm doing a 90-minute interview with him. It's going to be incredible what he's got to say, the information he has on Planet X. It's going to be incredible. So get your tickets today, guys. Go to my website. Here's what you do. Just go straight to my website, actually. Right there. Get your ticket. If you go to PaulBegleyProphecy.com, you'll see a big red banner right across the front. You just click on the banner, click it, get the ticket. You're ready to go, okay? And the speakers are incredible. We're living in the end times. And this is why I wrote the book Revelation 9:11, because the very things that's happening right now, we wrote it in the book because it was in the Bible, and we just followed the scripture. It's unbelievable. But do you know where we go from here? You can get this book at Amazon.com and get your pre-order in now. Revelation 9:11. Get your pre-order in now so that you'll be completely ready. Matter of fact, we're even offering this as a class at the Paul Begley School of Prophecy this semester, starting, I believe it starts January 15th, in a week. Go to my website. Find out about the Paul Begley School of Prophecy. See all the different classes. There is a class called Revelation 9:11. And it's being taught by Roy Rosser. And from the book, Revelation 9:11. It's being taught from the book. Even though the books don't ship till April 2nd, he will begin teaching the first phase of it. And then on April 2nd, of course, you can then get all your book. But we're in the end times. Get your ticket now. Get your tickets right now. Go to our website at paulbegleyprophecy.com for Planet X. What's next?
Saturday was silent, and surely it was through. Since when has impossible ever stopped you? And Friday's disappointment is Sunday's empty tomb. Since when has impossible ever stopped you? This is the sound of our dry bones rattling. This is the praise, make a dead man walk again. Open the grave, I'm coming out. I'm gonna live again. This is the sound of dry bones rattling.
Pentecostal fire, stirring something new. You're not gonna run out of miracles anytime soon. Your resurrection power, it runs in my veins too. I believe there's another miracle here in this room. This is the sound of dry bones rattling. This is the praise, make a dead man walk again. Open the grave, I'm coming out. I'm gonna live again. This is the sound of dry bones rattling. My God is able to save and deliver and heal and restore anything that He wants to. Just ask the man who was thrown on the bones of Elisha if there's anything that he can do. Just ask the stone that was rolled at the tomb in the garden what happens when God says to move.
Oh, that's right.
I feel Him moving it now. I feel Him doing it now. I feel Him doing it now. Do it now. Do it now. This is the sound of dry bones rattling. Yeah, this is the praise, make a dead man walk again. Open the grave, I'm coming out. I'm gonna live again. Open the grave, I'm coming out. I'm gonna live again. Open the grave, I'm coming out. I'm gonna live again. This is the sound of dry bones rattling.
Oh, think about it now. Think about it. The prophecy of Ezekiel 37. Are you serious?
Son of man, these bones are the whole house of Israel. Prophesy and say to them, thus saith the Lord God, behold, my people, I will open your graves and cause you to come up from your graves and bring you into the land of Israel. Then you shall know that I am the Lord, and I will put my spirit in you, and I will place you in your own land, and you shall live. I will place you in your own land. You shall live, 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 live.
Oh, that's right. And that prophecy fulfilled 3,000 years later. And now prophecies are fulfilling again.
This is the sound of dry bones rattling. Yeah, this is the praise, make a dead man walk again. Open the grave, I'm coming out. I'm gonna live again. Open the grave, I'm coming out. I'm gonna live again. Open the grave, I'm coming out. I'm gonna live again. This is the sound of dry bones rattling.
Well, that's right. Rattle. It's the name of the song that's on my album, Harmonize and Prophesy. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. But the Bible is coming to pass right before our very eyes. I'll be back with more current world events and how they relate to biblical prophecy. You certainly have to ask yourself, how in the world could all this be going on? How can this all be going on? Including the weather, explosive weather, which you better watch for today and tomorrow across America. And tornadoes could break out everywhere. But the wars, the rumors of wars. How could this be going on and this not be the last days? Give your life to Jesus Christ. Be born again. Are you saved? Before time runs out.